New in now, Wikileaks editor Julian Assange has been transferred apparently from his cell in Belmarsh Prison in the UK to a hospital wing after his health took a rapid turn for the worse. The whistleblower's website fears for its co-founder's life even, and his lawyer says he can barely hold a conversation right now. Let's try and get across what's happening here. Polly Boyker's crossed this in London. I've got to say, when we saw those dramatic pictures of him being pulled out from that embassy, you were covering it at the time, didn't look well. What's happening now then?
Well, there have long been concerns for his health, that's right, but he has now been moved to the hospital wing of the London prison, where he's serving out that 50-week sentence for skipping bail when he first entered the Ecuadorian embassy. And WikiLeaks say that they've got grave concerns for Julian Assange's health. Take a listen to what they had to say.
During the 7 weeks in Belmarsh, his health has continued to deteriorate and he has dramatically lost weight. The decision of prison authorities to move him to the ward speaks for itself.
And it's actually Assange's Swedish defence lawyer, the one that's dealing with that case that's been reopened against him in Sweden for allegations of sexual assault back in 2010. He's the one that's raised the alarm over Assange's health, over the state of his health. Take a listen to what he had to say about what Assange was like when he went to visit him a little bit earlier on this week.
Assange's health situation on Friday was such that it was not possible to conduct a normal conversation with him.
But despite concerns for Julian Assange's health, the wheels of justice, or should I say the judicial system here, continue to turn. We are outside Westminster Magistrates Court in London. You can hear the crowd of his supporters behind me making themselves very vocally loud and clear that they support Julian Assange. And we're here for a second hearing over the case of Assange's extradition over to the US. And so far, also, by the way, Swedish authorities have refused to move a hearing in relation to that case as well. So the legal cases against Assange are going ahead despite what's going on, it seems, with his health. Now, Julian Assange is set to appear via video link here at a hearing. This is the second hearing. Earlier this month, he formally refused to consent to being extradited over to the US, so sort of officially signalling the beginning of what promises to be quite a protracted legal battle over whether or not he goes to the US. And it's complicated, it's convoluted, this case, but essentially it boils down to two core issues. One is, did Julian Assange act as a journalist when he published the troves of secret US documents? And crucially for him, the second question is the UK willing to send him over to the US, where he might face up to 175 years behind bars if you add up all the charges that are stacked up against him? Last week, the Department of Justice unveiled the 17 additional charges that they'd heaped on the Wikileaks founder, and the charges come under the 1917 US Espionage Act. That's much more serious than the initial conspiracy to hack a government computer that was unveiled in the original extradition request for Assange that came into UK authorities. That would have carried a maximum of 5 years. So we're talking about much more serious, padded out charges against Assange. And this US Espionage Act has never been used against a journalist in the past. It's only ever been used against government officials who leaked secrets. Of course, Washington's argument is that Assange isn't a journalist, he's a computer hacker, and by publicising the names of informants in US war zones, they put those lives in grave danger. But what's interesting here is that even Assange's critics, and there are quite a few of them, many of them say that the US case against him has serious implications for freedom of the press and for journalists around the world. So that's why all the hearings to do with him draw his supporters, who are very vocal.
Well, Polly, since you've been speaking, another turn of events just in literally from the lawyer for Julian Assange, now saying that Julian Assange is too ill to appear by video link for the London court hearing that you were talking about just now. So it'll be interesting to see in the coming hours, days, how he is going to represent himself, what's going to happen. Is this still going to be put on pause maybe or not?